everyone, it's Clarice. This is Clarice Reads, and today I'm going to talk a bit about reading more diverse science fiction and fantasy books. As you may know, I decided not to set yearly reading goals, but instead try to set more specific quarterly reading goals, and I'm still sticking with that. But even though I'm doing that, there are still some reading goals that are more general that I do want to prioritize, not necessarily for the year, but just right now for some undefined period of time. And one of those goals is to read more diverse science fiction and fantasy. Well, the first part probably makes sense to you. A lot of people on BookTube have been wanting to read more diversely. I mean, the Diversathon is a thing, and I think it's going to be happening when this video goes up. And that's something I want to strive towards, generally. But the reason that I'm trying to read diverse science fiction and fantasy specifically, well, I think it has a bit of a longer explanation. Recently, when I was trying to reflect a bit on my reading goals in 2016 and things that went well, things that went wrong, I did make those videos, but there were some things I noticed that I wasn't able to mention in those videos. Specifically for my Read the World goal, as I mentioned in the video when I talked about the results of that reading goal, I was pretty proud of what I was able to accomplish. And I'm still pretty proud of it. But something I forgot to mention is that even though I read from so many different countries last year, I don't think any of the books that I read for my Read the World goal made it to my favorites of 2016 video. Like, I tried to read more diversely, but my favorites video still didn't end up being all that diverse. And I tried to figure out, why is that? Am I just naturally biased towards things that aren't diverse without me even trying to be biased? Then I realized that there was something wrong with my mindset when it came to reading more diverse books. When I pick books to read in general, I normally gravitate towards science fiction and fantasy because I know that those are my favorite genres. But when I was trying to pick books for example, my Read the World challenge last year, I was picking books that were rated really highly, books that were recommended by my friends, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I do want reading diversely to become something normal, to become something natural. And I don't think it's going to happen if I continue to have this disconnect between how I choose books to read in general and how I choose books to read that are diverse. I wasn't unimpressed by my Read the World books because they were from other countries, but because I wasn't picking them the way I would pick books normally. I wasn't picking them with the same filters. I wasn't picking books that I thought I would enjoy, but instead I was picking books that I thought I should enjoy. And I think there's something wrong with that. So now, for again, some undefined period of time, I want to try to focus more on reading diversely, but also reading books from the genres I love, and knowing that those two things aren't separate. I don't need to think of them separate. I don't need to pick diverse books differently from the way I pick normal books. So I'm hoping by the end of the year, my favorites video is going to be a lot more diverse. I'm hoping that as I progress with this channel, I'm going to be able to share books that other people aren't talking about. And most importantly, I hope that reading diversely eventually becomes something that I don't need to consciously do, but instead becomes something that I naturally gravitate towards doing. So that's all I have to say about that, I guess. Sorry if it was a bit rambly. Normally for videos, I try to write a bit of an outline first, but I was actually filming something completely different when I suddenly went off on a tangent and started talking about this, so I figured I might as well just make it a completely different video. So if you have any thoughts on this or on reading diversely in general, feel free to share it with me in the comment section below. Also feel free to share with me any of the diverse science fiction or fantasy books that you think I should read, also down below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye!